We ran a hard-fought campaign, and with the results close to final now, it's clear that we have won this race and that the folks in Wisconsin have voted to continue building on the progress that we have been making over the last 4 years and to keep the state of Wisconsin moving forward. First, I want to say thank you again to everybody who worked on my campaign, everybody around the state who made sure to get out and made their voices heard at the polls. I also want to say a thank you to the folks who work at the Department of Justice, but also people who work in state service and serve the public across the state of Wisconsin. The work that our public servants do is incredibly important, and it makes a difference in communities across the state day in and day out. So thank you to all of them for the work that you do. It has been the honor of a lifetime to serve as Attorney General for the last 4 years, and it is an incredible privilege to have the opportunity to continue serving over the course of the next 4 years. Now, we ran hard-fought races around the state. Wisconsin, of course, was a hotly contested state, as it is in just about every election. And Wisconsinites came out in huge numbers. We're still waiting for the total, but it appears that this is going to be a record-breaking midterm election result again. Wisconsinites made clear that they want to build on the progress we're making. We talked about issues in the campaign that can move this state forward. Things like investing in public safety in the state of Wisconsin, restoring access to reproductive freedom in Wisconsin, and protecting our democracy. We need to work together now. We have completed a lengthy campaign, and Wisconsinites have chosen to continue in the direction that we've been continuing in. I look forward to working across the aisle with Democrats and Republicans to move this state forward. We have an incredible opportunity right now to build on what has happened. We have a low unemployment rate in Wisconsin. We have a record surplus. Now is an opportunity to invest in our communities, to build safer and stronger communities across the state of Wisconsin. It's also an opportunity to strengthen our democracy. For too long, there have been efforts to undermine the will of the voters, not only in Wisconsin, but in states across the country. Wisconsin can be a leader. Wisconsin can be a model in showing how we can come back together after an election and rebuild and strengthen our democracy. I look forward to working again across the aisle with Democrats and Republicans to do that. I want to thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to continuing to serve Wisconsinites for the next 4 years. Now, I want to say two other things. First, I'm joined by my wonderful family here. I want to thank them for coming out here and being part of this event, and of course for all their support. I also want to thank Eric Toney for running a hard-fought race and for his service to the public. We will be continuing to work together as we move forward, and it was a privilege to run a campaign where we focused on issues and on what's in the best interests of the people of Wisconsin. So thank you all for being here. With that, I'm happy to open up to questions.
There's a struggle in the last session to get any sort of money for public safety and shared revenue. I mean, aren't we just looking at more of the same for at least the next 2 years, probably the next remainder of your second term? And how do you overcome that? Can you overcome that? How do you start building bridges with Republicans who are just not interested in working with you?
You know, I'm really optimistic about the opportunity to see real investments in public safety in the next budget. We're in a very different position than we were 2 years ago when we were in the midst of the major impacts from the pandemic. Right now, the state has a huge record-breaking budget surplus. And I traveled around the state, and one thing I heard from Democrats and Republicans was about the importance of investing in our communities, investing in our schools, but also investing in public safety. That includes at DOJ investing in the critical work that we do through our Division of Criminal Investigation, through our Office of School Safety, through our Division of Law Enforcement Services, and in other critical ways. One thing that I also talked about, and I know that the governor talked about during the campaign, was the importance of increasing shared revenue as well. Those are the dollars that go from state government to local government and fund critical local services, including local law enforcement. By increasing shared revenue, we can get resources to our community leaders, and leaders across the state are asking for those resources. So I'm optimistic the legislature is going to hear that, and that we're going to be able to work together to increase investments in our communities.
General, what's your number one top priority going into the second term?
My top priority is public safety. It has been and always will be as Attorney General. We have an opportunity right now to invest in our communities, as I talked about. My Safer Wisconsin plan would put $115 million towards safer communities. I would like to see those kinds of investments. Increasing shared revenue would be a critical step as well. We will continue to advocate for common sense gun safety measures like universal background checks. It should not be the case in Wisconsin that you can sell guns out of the trunk of your car without having a background check conducted. So we're going to keep advocating for those changes as well. But investing in our communities is going to help us fight violent crime. It's going to help us fight the opioid epidemic, and it will make our communities safer.
Are you still willing to work with Fond du Lac DA Tony in his position right now as district attorney?
Absolutely. I look forward to working together with him. We had a nice conversation late last night, I guess it was early this morning, where we talked about continuing to work together. We have a shared interest in supporting the work that people are doing around the state to support public safety. That was never a point of disagreement in our race, and so I'm looking forward to working together to ensure that our communities have the resources that they need.
Josh, it was predicted to be a good night for Republicans. Didn't go that way, and several other states as well. But what do you think was the difference maker for Democrats to win big?
You know, I saw somebody comment that it was one of the most uneven midterm elections that they had seen. In some states, Republicans did really well. In other states, Democrats did really well. I think what we saw in this election was that people made decisions based on the particular choices they had and the issues that were in front of them. It's really unusual historically for the president's party to be as successful as Democrats were in this election in Wisconsin. We reelected Governor Evers. I was reelected. And I think that shows that voters like the direction we are taking this state in, and they want to continue in that direction and build on the progress that we're making.
How much of a factor do you think your lawsuit to overturn the abortion ban was in bringing out maybe female voters? How do you think that factored into it? I assume you're going to continue to push forward with that lawsuit.
Yeah, we're going to keep fighting to restore access to safe and legal abortion in Wisconsin. I think that was a major factor in a number of elections around the country. It impacted things in a couple ways. First, I think there are a lot of people who were motivated, who either may not have turned out, but who did, or who registered to vote for the first time. I think that an election that is so unusual historically, where the president's party wins key races like the governor's race and the AG's race, to me that sends a sign that voters care about that issue and that they want reproductive freedom restored in Wisconsin, and we're going to keep working to do that, and I hope that we will see the legislature now take some action on that issue.
Josh, you and Eric Toney are both from Fond du Lac County. Eric Toney did quite a bit better in the county. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the patterns were fairly consistent with what you would see in a typical partisan race, and Fond du Lac County has leaned Republican. It's a wonderful place. I'm privileged to have grown up there. But this is a closely divided state, and this election reflects it, just as many elections have. But ultimately, I'm proud that we were able to. I would like to say expand my margin from 4 years ago, but it's all small numbers we're talking about here, and it's good to keep moving forward in the state. All right, well, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.